Have you ever felt like the invisible child in your family? What did you do about it? Share your story in the comments. Hit the like button and subscribe to see what happens next. I'm Clara Bennett. I'm 32 years old, and I work as an accountant in Omaha, Nebraska. For many years, I used all my savings to help my family. When my dad had heart surgery, I paid the hospital bills. When my sister needed money for college, I paid for her tuition. When a big storm damaged our house, I paid to fix the roof. I even said no to a job in Chicago, a really good job, just so I could stay near my family. One night, we were all sitting at our family dinner table. It's the one I had paid to fix, so it looked nice. Dad cleared his throat and said, "We've decided. The house and the savings will go to your sister. She deserves it for her business dreams." I felt my stomach twist. Mom nodded her head and said, "She has big plans." It felt like my sacrifices didn't matter at all. I gripped my glass tightly and wiped my hands on the napkin. I wanted to scream, but I stayed quiet. My heart raced. They had taken everything I worked for and gave it to my sister. All those nights I stayed up helping with bills and fixing problems. They didn't see me. They just expected me to keep giving. I sat there, my mind going back to everything I had given. 5 years ago, my dad had heart surgery, and the bill was $15,000. Mom called me late at night, crying, saying they couldn't pay. I sent the money the next morning. That used up all my savings. I had no new clothes, no fun trips, just the quiet glance from Dad when he left the hospital. He never said thank you. I told myself it was okay, because he was alive. Next was my sister Maya's college tuition. She promised she would use her degree to start a business. I paid $10,000 every year for 3 years. My own rent and car payments were hard to manage, but I made it work. Maya struggled in college. She partied a lot and barely graduated. Then she tried different businesses like small shops and food trucks, and most of them failed. But I still paid for her dreams. 2 summers ago, a huge storm hit Omaha and tore the roof off our house. Mom called, scared we'd lose the house. I paid $8,000 to fix it, working extra hours to get the money. Every time I passed by the house, I remembered that roof and how I had saved it. The hardest part was the job in Chicago. They offered me a senior accountant position, paying $85,000 a year. A chance to build my own life. I said no. I didn't want to leave my family behind. I stayed in Omaha. All my sacrifices stacked up. Late nights at my job, endless bills, missing out on life. I wondered when I would get to live for myself. Dad got better. Maya finished college. The roof stayed strong. But nobody noticed me. Maya kept talking about her next big idea, while I paid the bills. Mom and Dad clapped for her, but never asked how I managed everything. I didn't want applause. I just wanted them to see me. All the money I gave, hospital bills, tuition, roof repairs, Maya spent on fancy clothes and weekend trips. I saw the receipts when Mom asked me to sort their credit card bills. I never said anything. I just kept paying. My apartment was empty. My savings were gone. I thought family meant giving, even if it hurt. I gave up trips, my career, and my own peace, all for them. They leaned on me, expecting me to always carry the weight. Maya never said thank you. She came with new earrings and bragged about investor meetings while I covered everything. Mom and Dad called Maya their dreamer and star, but never thanked me. I thought loyalty meant putting them first, even when it made me sad. After all those years, I felt empty. My future was disappearing with every dollar I spent. I wasn't angry yet, but the weight of their indifference was heavy. I had built their world piece by piece, and they never noticed. That night, around the table, I felt everything all at once. Dad said, "We've made up our minds. The house and savings are going to Maya. She deserves it for her dreams." My chest hurts. Mom nodded, holding her hands tightly. "Maya's got ambition," she said. "She needs this to build her future." Maya leaned back, smiling. She looked like she always knew she would win. My heart raced. The house I helped keep, the money I saved, they were giving it all to her. I had spent years supporting them, and they acted like I didn't exist. I wanted to yell. I wanted to ask why they didn't see me. But I stayed quiet, gripping my napkin so tight my knuckles hurt. Dad smiled at Maya, proud. "She's got big ideas," he said. "Big ideas?" I thought. I held them together, paid all the bills, and they didn't see it. Maya said, "I've got plans in motion." She didn't even look at me. Mom touched Maya's arm and said, "We're behind you," never looking at me. The room felt heavy. I thought about all the nights I worried about money, about how I gave up my life for them. They didn't care. Maya's dreams were just words, but they cheered for her like she was a hero. I was invisible. My throat tightened. I could have shouted, but I stayed still. Their voices kept buzzing about Maya's future. Each word hurts like a cut. I thought family meant sticking together, but they left me carrying everything alone, and then they gave the reward to her. Maya laughed about some new plan. Dad nodded. Mom smiled. I felt like a stranger in my own home. I shoved my chair back. I need a moment, I said softly. They barely noticed. I stepped outside into the Nebraska night, biting my skin. Their words rang in my head. She deserves it. She deserves it. I had given everything, and they gave me nothing. No thank you, no smile, no hug. Something inside me changed that night. I wasn't going to be their anchor anymore. A week later, I met my friend Tessa at a coffee shop in downtown Omaha. Her face was serious. She slid into the booth. I heard about the dinner, she said quietly. But there's something you need to know about Maya. My stomach dropped. I already felt trouble coming. Tessa leaned closer, her eyes sharp. She's not telling the whole truth. You need to hear this before it's too late. I felt my hands shake. My mind was racing. After everything I had done for my family, after giving all my money and missing chances to live my life, could Maya really be hiding something? Tessa took a deep breath. Maya has been borrowing money from people in ways that could get her into big trouble. People she says are investors, they're not really helping her. She's promising things she can't deliver. And she's been taking money from your parents' accounts without them knowing. My heart thumped so fast it felt like it would jump out of my chest. My mind went back to the night at the table, to the words she deserves it. I couldn't believe it. All the money I had given, my family had been blind to what was really happening. I don't know what to do, I whispered. I gave so much. I worked so hard. And now, my voice caught. I didn't even want to finish. Tessa reached across the table and put a hand on mine. You're not alone. You've done everything right. You've saved your family all these years. It's not fair, Clara. But you're strong. You can fix this. I looked at her, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a spark of hope. Maybe I wasn't invisible. Maybe I didn't have to stay quiet anymore. Maybe I could take a step back and finally start living for myself, even if Maya and my parents didn't notice me. That night, I went home thinking about all the sacrifices I had made. The hospital bills, Maya's tuition, the roof, the job in Chicago I didn't take. All of it. And I realized something. All that giving didn't make me weak. It made me strong. I had the power to take care of myself now. I decided that I would talk to my parents about the truth. I would tell them everything Tessa told me. And I would finally make a plan for my own life. One that didn't depend on whether they saw me or not. The next morning, I sat at my kitchen table and made a list. First, I would check the bank accounts and make sure Maya couldn't take more money without permission. Then I would look for ways to save for myself, even if it was just a little at first. And finally, I would start thinking about my dream job again, the Chicago opportunity one had said no to. Maybe it was still out there. Maybe it wasn't too late. I knew it wouldn't be easy. I knew my family might be angry. But I also knew something else. I had given them everything for years. Now it was time to give myself a chance. I could finally breathe. She had been spending so much money. New clothes, fancy trips, toys, and gadgets. All on credit cards that nobody knew about. I held my coffee cup tightly in my hands, feeling it shake a little. My heart felt heavy like a big rock sitting on my chest. Maya had always liked fancy things. That wasn't surprising. But this was different. She had borrowed so much money that it was tied to the house where Mom and Dad lived. The house I had worked so hard to protect. Tessa, my friend, had told me about it first. She had shown me a picture on her phone. It was a notice from the bank saying that Maya had used the house as a promise to pay her debts. Mom and Dad didn't even know. I stared at the phone, my pulse racing. All the years I had worked to keep my family safe, all the times I had stayed up late paying bills, all the sacrifices I had made. Maya had put it all in danger for her own fun. My hands gripped the cup so tightly that my knuckles turned white. I didn't waste a second. I got into my car and drove straight to Mom's house. My hands were still shaking as I held the steering wheel. I was angry and scared at the same time. Mom was in the kitchen when I got there, stirring a cup of tea. She looked tired but calm, like nothing was wrong. I didn't sit down. I couldn't. Mom, I said, my voice sharp. Did you know Maya has been using the house for her debts? Mom froze, her spoon stopping in midair. Her face turned pale. What do you mean? She asked softly, but I could see her eyes flicker like maybe she had guessed something. I explained everything. I told her about Tessa's warning. I told her about the bank notice. I told her about all the money Maya had spent without anyone knowing. Mom's hands shook, but she shook her head. Maya wouldn't do that, she said. She's just ambitious. She's trying to build something. You're strong. You always manage. Maya needs us. Her words cut me like a knife. I had spent years keeping my family safe, and they were defending Maya, even now. I took a step closer to her, my voice rising. Ambitious. She's risking everything you have. Why do you keep defending her? Mom looked away. Her lips were tight, pressed together. I could see her eyes flickering with worry and fear. She's trying to build something, she repeated softly. You're strong. You always manage. Maya needs us. I felt my chest tighten. My heart burned. I had been their anchor, the one who kept everything steady, the one who made sure the lights stayed on and the bills got paid. And now they were choosing her over me. I held up my phone and showed her the same bank notice Tessa had sent me. Mom's eyes widened. For the first time, I saw doubt creep in. How did you get this? She asked, her voice trembling. Tessa, I said simply. Someone had to tell me, since you wouldn't. Mom sank into a chair, silent. Her face looked shocked, ashamed, and a little lost. I stood there, waiting for her to say something, anything, that would make it right. But she just stared at the table, her hands folded in her lap. I felt a heavy weight of anger, not just at Maya, but at Mom and Dad too, for trusting her blindly. I turned to leave, my voice low but steady. You chose her, but she's the one sinking you. I walked out the door, closing it behind me. My decision was made. I wasn't going to clean up their mess anymore. A month later, Mom sent me a text message. The house payment is due. I stared at my phone, my fingers hovering over the screen. Then I typed, that's not my responsibility. The words felt sharp, like a knife cutting through years of feeling like I had to take care of everyone. I silenced my phone. I didn't want to hear their pleas, their angry voices, or Maya's whining. Each unanswered call was like another brick in the wall I was building around my peace. My apartment in Omaha felt safe, like a little fortress where I could finally breathe. For weeks, I ignored their messages. Voicemails piled up like bills I didn't want to pay. My life, once tied to their needs and their problems, was finally mine. I didn't answer. I didn't even peek. I wanted to feel free. Then one evening, there was a knock at my door. I froze. My heart jumped. I looked through the peephole and saw Mom, Dad, and Maya standing there. Their faces were full of panic, anger, and worry. Mom held a folder of papers from the bank, her hands shaking. We're out of time, she said. Her voice was cracking. The bank will take the house if you don't help. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, my face unyielding. Maya dug this hole, I said, my voice calm but cold. She has to fix it herself. Maya's eyes flashed with anger. You're betraying us, she shouted, stepping forward. We're your family, and you're just walking away. I let out a bitter laugh. Betraying you? I've carried this family for years. Every bill, every problem, every sacrifice. I did it all. And now you handed it to her. My words hit hard, and I could see her face flush red with anger and embarrassment. Dad stepped forward, his eyes heavy on me. This isn't who we raised, he said quietly. You're letting us fall apart. The words stung, but I didn't back down. I've given enough, I said, locking eyes with Maya. This is your mess. Fix it. Maya's lips parted, but no words came out. Mom's voice broke the silence. Please, just this once, she whispered. We're your family. I looked at all three of them, Mom's trembling hands, Dad's frowning face, Maya's clenched fists. They weren't here for me. They were here for what I could give them. My heart pounded, but I finally understood something important. Family doesn't mean I have to give everything. I'm done, I said firmly, my voice calm and strong. Maya tried to step closer. You think you're better than us? You'll regret this when we lose everything, she yelled. No, Maya, I said slowly and clearly. You'll regret gambling our home on your plans. Her confident face crumpled. For a second, I saw fear in her eyes. Dad raised his hand as if to calm her, but his eyes stayed on me. You're choosing yourself over us, he said, his voice heavy like a judge giving a final verdict. Yes, I said. I am. I had never felt so sure of myself. Mom reached out her hand to touch my arm, but I pulled away. Don't, I said softly. You made your choice when you picked her. The room went silent. I thought about all the late nights I had stayed up paying bills, all the sacrifices I had made, all the dreams I had put on hold. I had spent years keeping my family safe, and they had taken it for granted. I was no longer their anchor. I looked at the folder in Mom's hands, filled with bank papers showing all of Maya's reckless spending. "Call the bank," I said. "Fix it or face it. I'm not your way out anymore." Maya's hands balled into fists, but she stayed silent. I closed the door, and the sound echoed in the quiet hallway. Their voices outside begged and argued, but I didn't answer. I walked to my window and looked out at the Omaha skyline. The sky was glowing with the soft colors of sunset, a reminder of the life I was taking back. My phone buzzed again. Probably Dad. Probably Maya. I didn't check. I sank into my couch, letting out a long breath. The weight of their demands and expectations lifted from my shoulders. My pulse slowed. I felt something I hadn't felt in years, freedom. I had spent so many years giving everything, making sure everyone else was okay, sacrificing my own life. Now, for the first time, I was choosing myself. The next week, I noticed whispers. People in my neighborhood avoided looking at me. Their voices dropped when I walked by. By Wednesday, my inbox was flooded with messages from old friends. They asked if it was true, if I was really letting my parents' house go to the bank. Maya had gone on social media, telling lies about me. She said I was selfish, that I had abandoned my family, that I had left them to lose everything. My throat felt tight as I read her words. At work, whispers grew louder. Colleagues stopped talking when I walked by. A coworker I trusted pulled me aside. "Is it true you're letting your parents' house go to the bank?" she asked, her voice full of worry. I shook my head. "No," I said. "That's not the story." But it didn't matter. People believed the easiest story, the story Maya wanted them to believe. The truth didn't matter. I felt the heat of anger and sadness, but I also felt a strange sense of relief. I had finally chosen myself. I didn't respond to any more messages. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I just let them be. I had spent too many years carrying the weight of everyone else. Now it was time to live my own life. I sat by my window again, watching the city lights turn on one by one. I thought about all the nights I had cried quietly, all the moments I had given up for them, all the times I had stayed strong while everyone else slept. That was done. I wasn't going back. Even though people whispered, even though Maya lied, even though Mom and Dad were angry and scared, I felt peace for the first time. I had built a life for myself, a safe place where I could breathe, laugh, and dream again. I didn't need anyone else to approve of me. I knew there would be challenges. I knew Maya would probably keep trying to blame me. I knew my parents might never fully understand. But it didn't matter. I had learned the most important thing. My life was mine. My choices were mine. My happiness was mine. And for the first time in a long time, I felt light, free, and unafraid. Mom called that afternoon. Her voice sounded cold, almost like ice. "People are talking," she said. "They're saying you left us." I held my phone tightly in my hands. My fingers were shaking, and I could feel my heart beating fast. I didn't like hearing this. "Maya is the one spreading these lies," I said. My words were sharp like a little knife. "She is lying to make herself look better, and make me look bad." Mom didn't say anything for a few seconds. Then she sighed. "You need to fix this," she said. Her voice sounded tired and worried, but also angry, as if I was the one who had caused all the trouble. I hung up the phone slowly, feeling a heavy weight on my chest. It felt like a big stone sitting on me. I realized something. They weren't just letting Maya's lies spread, they were actually making it worse by not saying anything. Right after that, an email came from Dad. It was formal and serious, like he had practiced every word. "Your actions are tearing us apart," he wrote. "People in town are calling us desperate because of you." I stared at the screen. Desperate? Me. I had spent so many years helping my family, protecting them, and making sure everything was okay. And now they said I was the problem? My heart felt heavy. Their words hurt, not because they were true, but because they came from the people I had loved and cared for all my life. I didn't reply to Dad's email. I didn't know what to say. Instead, I opened my phone and looked at Maya's latest post online. She had written about me, calling me cold-hearted and selfish. People I didn't even know had commented, saying I was ungrateful and mean. I felt a wave of anger and sadness wash over me. I needed fresh air to think clearly, so I put on my coat and walked to a park near my apartment. The Omaha skyline was big and quiet in the distance. The tall buildings didn't seem to care about anything. They just stood there, steady and calm. I had always thought that family was supposed to stick together, no matter what happened. But now it felt like family was a trap. Maya's lies weren't just words, they were weapons. She was trying to make herself look like a good person and make me look like the bad one. And my parents, instead of stopping her, were silent. Their silence was louder than anything they could have said. By Friday, the lies had reached my work. One of my clients, a local business owner I had worked with for many years, sent me an email. "Heard about your family," it said. "Not sure we can keep working with someone who'd do that." My stomach sank. I felt a cold, heavy dread spread through me. Maya's lies were now affecting not just my personal life, but my work, my name, and everything I had worked for. I sat at my desk staring at the email. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I wanted to fight back, to post my side of the story online, to scream the truth for everyone to see. But I didn't. I closed my laptop, trying to take a deep breath. I made a decision. I would not let them break me. They could try to hurt me, but I would stay strong. A few days later, my parents and Maya came to my office. The glass doors of the Omaha accounting firm opened, and there they were. Mom, Dad, and Maya, their faces set like stone. My colleagues stopped what they were doing, looking at the tense scene. The air felt heavy, like it was full of electricity. Mom spoke first. "We're here to talk sense into you," she said, holding a folder tightly. "You can't keep ignoring us." I leaned back in my chair. I crossed my arms. "I'm not ignoring you," I said in a calm voice. "I'm done fixing your problems. I have my own life now." Maya stepped forward, her eyes blazing with anger. "You're acting like you're better than us," she shouted. "People are talking, and it's because of you." I raised an eyebrow. "Because of me?" I asked. "No, Maya. You're the one who lied. You dragged everyone into this mess, and now you're trying to blame me." Her face turned bright red, but she didn't stop. "You're tearing this family apart," she yelled, pointing her finger at me. Dad's voice cut through the air, heavy and serious. "Enough," he said, stepping between us. "We're losing everything, and you don't care." His words hit me like a heavy hammer. But I stayed calm. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. "I'm calm because I've already done enough for you," I said. "Maya made these choices. She needs to fix them herself." Mom opened the folder and spread some bank papers across my desk. Her voice was trembling. "Look at this," she said. "We're out of time. You have the means to help." "I didn't touch these papers," I said, looking directly at Maya. "You used the house as collateral. You need to fix this, not me." Maya's eyes darted away, and for the first time, I saw a crack in her confidence. "I'm trying to build something," she muttered. "You wouldn't understand." I laughed, sharp and cold. "Build something? You built a disaster, Maya. A big, messy disaster." The room went silent. My colleagues watched quietly, unsure what to do. Mom's shoulders slumped and her voice softened. "We're your family," she said, almost pleading. "Does that mean nothing to you?" My chest tightened. I remembered all the years I had spent taking care of them, helping them, fixing their problems. But I was done. "Family doesn't mean I'm your bank," I said firmly. "Maya, call the bank and fix this yourself. I'm not your way out anymore." Maya parted her lips, but no words came out. She looked at Mom and Dad, hoping they would step in to help her, but they didn't. Dad's face hardened. "You're choosing yourself over us," he said quietly. "I never thought you'd be this selfish." The word stung like a pinprick. Selfish? Me. I had given them everything for years. But it didn't break me. "Selfish," I said, stepping closer. "I gave you everything for years. Now it's Maya's turn to step up. You made this mess. Clean it up." Maya's hands clenched, but she stayed quiet. For the first time, I saw fear in her eyes, not anger. Mom reached for my arm, but I stepped back. "We're done here," I said. "I have work to do." They froze, staring at me like they were waiting for me to change my mind. But I didn't. Dad shook his head and turned away first. Mom followed slowly, leaving the folder on my desk. Maya lingered, staring at me with a mix of anger and desperation. "You'll regret this," she whispered. I looked her in the eyes. "No, Maya. You will." She walked out the door, closing it behind her, leaving only silence in the office. Weeks later, the truth finally came out. A neighbor sent me a news article from the local paper. The headline read, "Local family loses home to foreclosure." My parents' house, the one I had spent years trying to save, was gone. The article didn't say Maya's name, but it didn't need to. Everyone in town knew. Her spending, her lies, and her reckless behavior had been exposed. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the screen. A quiet relief washed over me. The truth was out, and it was no longer my problem. Maya's social media had gone silent. The posts about my cold heart were gone, replaced by emptiness. Friends who had believed her lies began sending me messages, apologizing. "We didn't know," one wrote. "Maya told us you had betrayed the family." A local shop owner who had questioned me weeks ago called. He had heard the real story about Maya's debts, her spending, and how she refused to act responsibly. I nodded calmly. "It's over," I said, and I meant it. Their judgment no longer mattered. Mom called one evening, her voice thin and tired. "We're staying with friends," she said. "We lost everything." I waited, thinking she might ask me for help. But she didn't. Instead, she added quietly, "Maya's gone." She left town. My chest tightened, but it wasn't guilt. It was clear. Maya had run away, leaving Mom and Dad to deal with the wreckage. "I'm sorry it came to this," I said calmly. "But it wasn't my fault." Mom didn't argue. Dad didn't call. His absence was louder than any words he could have said. I walked through my apartment, looking out at the Omaha skyline glowing in the night. For the first time in years, I felt light. Free. I started saying no more often, not just to my family, but to anyone who demanded too much of me. My days became my own. I spent quiet evenings reading, trying new hobbies, and focusing on the career I built for myself. I wasn't running away from my family. I was choosing myself. The whispers in town faded over time. People began to respect me for standing firm. I may have lost their love, but I had gained my freedom. This journey taught me a very important lesson. Family doesn't mean you owe someone your entire life. Saying no and setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's necessary for survival. Maya's lies and my parents' demands showed me that love should never come with a price tag. I learned to be strong. I learned to trust myself. And most importantly, I learned that choosing yourself is sometimes the bravest thing you can do.